This is That One Audition with Alyshia Ochse. Okay, so then we got to start in the beginning. So 95.
Yes.
Was acting always the thing?
Wow, how much time do we have? This is a long story that I'm going to compress. for you.
Compress. Or does it one of those things you're just like walking through BC, Vancouver, BC, and they're like, hey, do you want to be on TV?
It's funnier than that. I wish it was that. That would have been more of a thing. I actually was working at a retail store, an office supplies store back in the day, and I worked my way up the ladder in regards to starting in the back, working to the front of the store, and long hours, pay didn't balance out to what I was doing for work. My sister, who I actually owe my career start to, she had said to me, "Why don't you think about modeling?" I was like, "Yeah, I could be into that modeling back in the day." So I went and found an agency. As soon as I walked in, they were like, "Oh, we'll take you." Understand, this is back in the 90s when being black in British Columbia was like a specialty. You couldn't really find a lot of black artists back then.
Mhm.
So this agency, they picked me up. I told them I had no interest in acting. I said, "But I'll do background work." So they had sent me for a few background gigs, long hours, no interesting crowds or whatnot. Went back to my day job, and I got called for an audition for a movie with an actor by the name of Jim Varney. I don't know if you know who Jim Varney is. Jim Varney. He did a bunch of movies back in the day called they were Ernest movies. Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest whatever, Ernest.
Okay. He
You
was
know,
Ernest.
doesn't ring a bell?
Mm-mm.
Anyways, so there was a movie called Slam Dunk Ernest, which was based on Ernest getting involved with a bunch of basketball players, not rappers.
Darn it.
Needless to say, I passed on the audition because I'd said, "Hey, listen, no, I don't want to act, but if there's background." To speed up the story, I had a roommate, black roommate as well. He got an audition for this same project, and I come home one day and I see him with another bunch of actors, and they're all practicing their lines for this audition. So I said, "Okay, you know what? I'm going to go for it." So I call up the agency. I say, "Sure, you know what? I'm going to go for this audition." And take the day off work, go down to this audition. I go down. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. I had no idea, if to understand. I hadn't taken any classes.
I was just gonna say, there's difference between going and doing, what did they call it? Modeling. I used to model too.
Right.
Look see, like a
Look,
what?
see,
Look see.
yeah, go sees, go
Oh, go
sees.
see.
They were called
So
go sees. So yeah,
yeah,
modeling would have been one thing, but this is acting. So
you
so
actually have to say
I have
words. Yeah.
my 4 or 5 pages of lines. Didn't really look at them at home. I go to the audition, which was actually this actually wasn't even a producer director session. This was the casting directors just doing their what do they call it, the
Pre-read.
pre-reads.
Yeah.
So I go in there, I sit down, nothing to lose, and I read these lines, and the casting director just looks at me, goes, "You're new to this, but I want you to take these lines and get some coaching and come back." I was like, "Sure, whatever." So I go get some lessons. I find a school. I work on it a bit. I come back again. Now I'm doing this audition with the actual casting director and the director. I just had fun with it. They're laughing, having a good time. I leave, go back to work. I get a call 2 days later. "Oh, you have a call back." So I understand it went from 200 actors to now there's like maybe 150 actors. I'd say maybe 100 actors, I'd say. So I go back and I audition again. Same material. I leave 2 days later. I get a call back again. They're like, "We want to see you again." So now I go back and there's probably around 50 actors. And now they've put us into groups of five. And they say, "Okay, Colin, you're with these guys, you're with those guys, whatever." And I go do the audition again. The room's laughing, everyone's having a good time. I'm like, "Whatever." And I leave. I say, "Okay, whatever." And as I'm about to leave, the casting director calls me back and says they want you to read for a different character. I'm like, "Okay." So I look at the lines, I go in there, and I completely, excuse my French, I shit the bed with this other character because I hadn't practiced it.
I was gonna say, and did you coach on that?
Didn't coach on it. Didn't coach.
Mhm.
I just coached on the first character. Didn't coach on the second character. In fact, so I had no idea. Like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. So I go to work. 5 days go by. I get a call. "Okay, you got the job of the first actor that you auditioned for, and we need you to do this entire movie." Which back in those days, it takes 5 6 weeks to do a movie. They need you the entire movie. Can you commit to that? I had to go to my boss, who I just got a promotion to be like a operations manager for this store, and asked him for some time off. He was like, "Dude, we just trained you. We sent you away for a month of training for this position." He goes, "You got to make a choice." And I was like, boom, gone. Quit the
Yeah.
job. My mom's crying because my mom's Caribbean. She's all about job stability.
Yes.
Get a
Yeah.
government job, get some kind of job that you have a stability in a career. So for her, acting wasn't on her list of to-dos. Needless to say, did the job, had a great time, it was a great learning experience, enjoyed the cash that came with it.
Yeah. And at this point too, are you like, okay, now maybe I want to do this? Like I love how
Yeah,
you were like,
yeah,
no background, please just background. Background because it was just easy. You could read your book and you're like, I'll take the money and that's fine.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah. So now I had the responsibility to perform, which, as I said before, wasn't anything that I had trained to do.
Post this 5, 6 week job.
Yes,
Now are you like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go back to my day job. That was fun. Or are you like, okay, now I'm gonna get myself in class and figure out what I'm doing?
exactly. I'm going to get myself in class. I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. And I'm sure the next job will be just as easy.
How long before this next job? I know I can look and see, but I'm just gonna.
Crickets,
Mm.
crickets. All of a sudden, your bank account starts,
Huh?
the decimals start going down. I'm like, wow, I think I might need to get myself another day job. So, as any great actor does, many, I shouldn't speak on all, waiter job because I need that flexibility. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I went and got a job at a restaurant, hustled, got a few gigs here and there. I don't want to call them bit parts because we don't say that anymore. Bit parts. We call them
Like day player. You're getting
player,
visit.
day player. Yes,
Yeah,
day
you're getting
player.
to visit
Yeah.
different sets for a day or
I'm
two.
old school now, so I got to change terminology because I know, yeah, bit player was the phrase back in the day, but yes, day player, that's correct.
Right.
So you got a lot of day player roles, 1 day here, 2 days here. And that basically was my life, I would say, for a good run of time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at your resume and I was like, oh, okay. Because I just think, look, this job is just going up the staircase. And
Yeah.
I think I came out from Kentucky and I was like, okay, I'm going to get my show tomorrow. That's what's going to happen. We're ready for that. And then you start, I think, especially if you even start in background, you're like, oh, that's how they do that? Oh, okay. And then to go to the day player roles and then, which I think are the hardest.
They
So
are.
this was my next question. You're getting to visit so many sets, and it's okay, you're going from day player, then you start getting some guest stars. Talk to me about the audition technique, because still to this day, the five and unders, I think, are the hardest auditions to do. Paul Giamatti, like everybody that's on the grand scale of leading films and leading shows will still
Hmm.
agree that the day player role, hardest audition, hardest job to do. You're coming into a world that's been built sometimes for years. Everybody's used to working together, and you have to throw that one line or the two lines
The
in the
worst.
middle of that 3 page scene.
The worst.
Yes.
Those definitely were, I would say, the toughest auditions because I would say you get no traction.
Mm.
You don't get where the story was. You don't get where it's going. You just facilitate to move the scene along.
Yep.
And, as an actor, to get as much information to create the scene in your head, it can help you know how you prepare your work. So when you're getting these day player roles, and like I said, you're really there just to facilitate the two leads to carry the story along. And where do I go? How do I prepare this? I don't want to do too much. I don't want to
Yeah.
do too little.
Fine.
So you do these auditions with all this preparation. You're like, okay, I'm going to make the scene this and I'm going to make the scene that. And I end it on this note and have these intentions. And then you get in there and you do it that way. Here are your keys, sir. And the director's just staring at you. Just throw it away, man, throw it away.
Yeah, throw it
Oh, here are
away.
your
They're
keys.
like a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit
Nevertheless,
less. No, you're like saying it quietly, and they're like, "Okay, thank you." You're like,
thank you.
Wait, what?" But it
Exactly.
seems like you master this because you've got like a 10-year run of a guest star here, a co-star. Like you're
Yeah.
really cobbling it together. Do you think there's a moment where you crack the code on this, or you finally just
Oh,
get to the place
wow.
where you're like, "I don't give a shit."
That's excellent. I think, cracking the code. I think it's more like no, I don't want to say I don't give a shit. It's just that you realize, I think you begin to realize your place. I want to
Yeah.
say, I think you begin to realize your place and what you're there for at the moment. And it really is just to carry the scene along. But understand though, as an actor, if you can be that actor that is dependable and can get the job done, because when you're doing these day player roles, everyone in Camera Village is just saying, okay, if this actor that we hired, that we don't know just off this audition, can just get those 2 lines or 3 lines, we can get ahead of the scene because we know we have 5 pages to do
Yes.
with our leads, and we know that they want 5, 6 takes, and it's going to take longer, and we don't want meal penalties and all these things. If you can be that actor that gets those lines, because so many of these shows were coming through Vancouver at the time, the Millennium, the X-Files,
Mhm.
Strange Luck, all these shows from the 90s that were they were like sci-fi-ish. And these directors were being recycled quite a bit. So if you could be that actor that could just get that line and be dependable, that's all they want at the time. And you recognize that. You still want to do good work. I'm not saying you dial it in, but I'm just saying at that time, just give them what they want. Don't cause any trouble and let them make their day.
And that's the planting of the seeds, right? Because then the director's, oh man, thank God he saved me on my day.
Totally.
Last time, just hire him. Just make this easy
Mhm.
for me.
Yes.
Do you come to LA at any point during this, or talk to me about the Vancouver market that you were already talking about? Because I know it started to really boom in the late like 2010s and stuff. It felt like
Yeah.
everything was going to Vancouver to shoot.
Totally. That's right.
But
Yeah.
before that, you were getting the one-offs here and there of good shows going up there, but was the market pretty dense, or did you come to LA at a certain point?
No, I did one little bout in LA, and that was in
Yeah, when was that? I
20.
did read that too, and I was like, when did he come
I
here?
came in 2010. I remember
Oh,
I came in 2010, and once again, I come with a duffel bag of
yes.
dreams.
Yes. Right
Like
after
any
the
other,
writer's strike,
you
like the
know?
boom of the web
Yeah,
series.
I'm like, here we go, here we go. I was staying in, I don't know where it is, Toluca Hills or
Toluca Lake. Yep.
Luke Lake, wherever. It was this apartment complex that a lot of actors, a
Oakwoods.
lot of actors. It was actually funny enough. Funny story was, I'd actually read or heard that
Hey there. Oh,
Rick
yeah.
James stayed in the building that I resided in, not in my unit, but in that same building. So I thought that was cool because I was a Rick James fan. But needless to say, I did my 6 week run, which I know you as an actor will say that's not quite long enough. But I came with my wife and a young child, a 2 year old at the time. So I just gave myself a little bit of time to say, okay, I've always wanted to come to LA. I had management. I'm going to
You
go.
had LA management
Yeah, I had LA management. I'm going to do these auditions and I'm going to roll the dice and
and
see
see
what
what
happens.
happens. So 2010, I'm just looking to see. This is after Battlestar Galactic.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't. You're so good. You're just pulling up that stuff there. I
because
can't.
I was like, sometimes to go to a different market, like especially during that time, right? To be in
Yeah.
Vancouver or to be in London or even New York,
Yeah.
all of a sudden to be like, okay, let me try you have to have some heat because otherwise, what's the point? Especially you with a wife and a baby in tow.
You're right. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactic. So you had some heat. So I'm sure they were like, come on down to Los Angeles.
And you would think that once again, though, but this is what puts everything into perspective is being in the Vancouver market. This is what's so interesting. And I'm glad that you touched on this because it's almost rings true with the show that I'm on now, is when you're on certain projects and they're getting these accolades, you think
Hmm.
in your little bubble,
Of
you
course.
think that, wow, that's it.
That's it.
I'm gonna
I've
buy
made
myself
it.
something. I'm
Everybody
gonna buy
knows.
myself something shiny and
Yep.
red. And then you end up going down to this huge machine that is LA and actors that you admire who are struggling for work. And I can't compute. I'm like, I go, I just came off this Battlestar Galactica show, whatever recurring. Nothing in the eyes of Hollywood is substantial, but in Vancouver terms, you think it's a pretty good nugget of work to have with you to break into the LA scene. And you go down there and
Yeah, I want to hear the difference. What was the difference that you noticed in auditioning in Vancouver versus in auditioning in LA?
oh wow, I think auditioning in Vancouver, first off, as an actor, I think, like I said, this is only because I didn't experience it at the time. In auditioning in Vancouver, you don't realize how lucky you actually were to get in the room in front of the decision makers. When I was in LA, for the few auditions that I had, they were never in the room with the decision makers. They were always just with the casting director. So that kind of
They're
turned me
vetting you. And 6 weeks really isn't the way they vet you, especially in Los Angeles. They want to see weeks, months, years of your work before they
totally,
trust you to move you forward.
totally.
And I feel like in a market like Vancouver, this is me making an assumption,
Yeah.
since there's a smaller pool of actors there,
Yes,
they see you, they trust you, they need you. Supply and demand is different.
totally. That's exactly 100%.
So they can move you forward. They trust you, they move you forward.
Yes,
You show up to LA, there's 40 other people in the waiting room look just like you.
exactly. And that's exactly what the story is
Was it? Yeah.
40 other people, say 100 other people. So
Yeah.
you've gone from this golden child, this prized possession in this small pool that is Vancouver, to all of a sudden you step into LA and it's get in line. And it's a long line. And that's why I always applaud any actor that I see or speak to that says that they want to go down to Los Angeles to find it. And funny enough, I have friends that have made that successful journey. And that, but in the same side, I have the actors who have gone down there with that duffel bag of dreams and have come back, and they're back even further than when they started in regards to getting work.
Really? So at the end of this, the 6 weeks with the timeline you gave yourself, at the end, you're like, okay, let's go back where I'm a big fish,
Yeah,
small
exactly.
pond. Yes. Because I was curious, did the killing come out of LA or did the killing audition? I love the killing. It was my favorite
That was
show.
a fun show,
Yeah,
huh?
it was a
Yeah,
great show.
I like
And
that
it
show.
changed the temperature of how television was being made in the States. Like it was an adapted show, obviously, but I just wanted to know that audition process and where did that come from? Was it Canada? You're
That came out of
Canadian?
Vancouver, and I love, gosh, you do your research and you pick the best projects to talk about because I have
Well,
so
I
many.
want to talk about the ones that I
That
saw
was
that I was
awesome.
like, ooh, how'd you get that sauce? Because when that came out, after the first season, I was like, okay. Because I did a show called True Detective. I did the first
Yeah,
season of True Detective. And when you're auditioning for shows like this, you at least had is it a Danish show that they adapted it from?
that is correct. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe
So
that's
you at least
correct.
had that to test on temperature, tone. First season, you're in the first season. Do you come in fourth, fifth, sixth episode, somewhere in there? A couple
Around there, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
tonally knowing where to land. The killing allowed so much space to breathe. It's not like your typical television at that time.
that's right.
And so did True Detective. So there was just one of those things where it's like, how do you make the decisions that you're going to? And your character was supporting Eric Layden's, like the mayor, right? Isn't
Yeah, I was supporting. Yeah, I was supporting. So Eric was the opposite. He was on a different. I was the mayor's right hand man, and he was working for the actor Billy Campbell, I believe,
Oh,
who
he
was
was the opposed against him. Okay, yeah.
running against. So yeah, so Eric was working with Billy, and I was working with a good gentleman by the name of Tom Butler, who was playing the mayor. What's funny about that audition is I remember when I went in for it, they had asked for the character to have a British accent.
Oh, and they're like, oh, he's from London. He sounds like you're from London.
They're
You're
like,
just
he's
born. Were you just born in London
I
and
was
then
born
how?
in I was born in, but I left London. Come on, I left London when I was like a toddler. So there was no, mommy, please, might I have some more, sir?
Yes,
There
yes.
was none of that all ever happening. So needless to say, so I went and got coaching, said, okay, I'm going to do this with a British accent. So I go into the audition room and hello, blah, 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 all the whatever. And I do the audition with my British accent. It's 2.5 pages. And they're sitting there watching me. And they're like, okay, Colin, now could you do it this time with a British accent?
No, they did not. No, they did. You're like, oh,
All of a sudden, sweat.
dripping.
Because I'm like, that was my British accent.
What'd you
Uh,
say? Did you just
so
regroup for a second?
needless to say, I said, oh, well, actually, that kind of was it. The room's quiet. Okay, thank you very much. I leave, thinking, oh boy, that's not going to go over well. Got the job with the note attached.
Yes.
Don't worry about the British accent.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm glad I asked you about that because
Yeah.
I just did a whole episode about like discovery versus doing the plan versus making a mistake or
Yeah.
thinking that the audition didn't go well. It's
Mhm.
usually the auditions that you walk out of that you're like, nailed
Yeah.
it. You never hear from again. You're
Silence.
not getting it. And the
Yeah.
ones where you're like, they didn't like that, or I don't know. I don't know about that. It sometimes doesn't make any sense. So trying to figure out what they want or trying to perfect it isn't really it. I love
Yeah.
that you even said that was it. I think sometimes when they get to see your humanity, that's what gets us the job.
There's no science to it. I think, gosh, as you said, 95 to now, my goodness, that's 30 years.
Yeah, 31 years you're circling.
And you're trying to try to figure it out. There's really just no science.
So tell me this, out of
Mm,
the 31 years,
yeah.
because I've asked a couple, is there that one audition or is there that one job? It's a trick question, by the
Yeah.
way. Is there for you, and when you think about your whole entire career, is there that one audition or is there that one job for you?
In regards to that one job, I would have to say that one job has been the job
Yeah.
that I've been doing for the last 7 seasons.
Yeah, and this you land during COVID. Do you
I
go?
led just prior, just because COVID kicked at COVID-19.
Mhm.
And so this job I got just before. So I think it was 2018 because I remember we shot a season. We shot a season prior to COVID, and then we ended up shooting through COVID under all these guidelines and restrictions, which I'm proud to say that during that whole filming season, I think only one individual got COVID, and that was someone in administration and nobody in the actual crew, the filming crew.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's
That's
very impressive
impressive.
because shows were shutting down left, right, and center.
So for Virgin River, so everybody that's listening
Yeah.
that doesn't know, how do you not know the number one show on Netflix? Hello.
Wow.
But since it was 2018, then you went in the room for this audition.
Was not in the room.
Oh, it wasn't. So it was
Because
tape.
self-tapes became a thing. And this is, like I said, I'm trying to keep up with, so much has happened in the world that I always try to figure out, I try to timestamp something based on in something that happened, like you said, COVID-19. When I went to LA, I think that was 2010, that was the Olympics were in Vancouver. So I'm always trying to say, okay, what happened then? What happened then?
Oh, smart man to leave. You're like, did you rent out your place for Vancouver?
Totally did.
That's smart.
Oh, it's
Now
smart.
it makes more sense to me, like that decision to be like, okay, I'm going
Yes.
to go for 6 weeks,
Yep.
make money in Vancouver,
That's
and
right.
test. Smart. Okay.
Exactly.
Now I
That's
get it. I get it.
it's
I
all
get
here,
it.
right? It's all
And then you're
here.
like, okay, now everybody's left Vancouver. I can go back home.
Go back
If I
home. No,
score a
exactly. Yeah.
job, great.
Didn't
I
want to do
love
all that
okay.
craziness. Yeah. But in
Mhm.
regards to your question, no, that audition, funny enough, ended up being in my garage.
All right. And tell me, Preacher comes in pilot episode, right? So
Yeah.
you're in right away. Is this also meant to be a guest star that ends up turning into a series regular? Because that's a different audition than when you're
No,
like, it's a series regular.
my understanding that it was the deal, it was a really funny deal when it all came together for the first season, but the top four leads were all brought in from, I want to say LA, but I want to say they were imports. Martin's from New Zealand and
Mhm.
whatnot, but they were all brought in. And then I came in at the number five, and I think everyone from five down, with the exception of one of the actors, where we were all considered locals. And this was what by Netflix standards called a low budget show, which was whenever I heard Netflix say low budget, I'm like, so it was like under $50 million.
Remember, they put on Orange is the New Black. Remember, that was a web series
Exactly, right?
that here
Exactly.
and
So,
then how many seasons in
oh,
did they and also them paying their series regulars like 3 grand an episode or
right.
1,500 an episode. So like a lot of people thinking, because I think just this is a good business acumen to talk about is
Yes.
Netflix coming in being like, okay, so you're going to be the local, we're going to pay the imports. And that's why I was curious. with the pilot episode, did they get away with being like, okay, you're a guest star, you're a day player, and we'll just see where this character goes, or this is a
Bingo.
fractional series?
Bingo.
Yes.
Fractional. Fractional.
Yeah.
Fractional is the word up. Fractional is the word I'm going to use. It was you were not this committed. We haven't committed to you yet.
We don't know what we
No.
want to do with you yet.
We do, yeah, we don't know what we want to do with you yet. We don't know where this show is going to go. So I remember my wife saying to me at the time when I got the offer, which was like, you kind of look at it sideways and you go, really, this? But my wife said to me, she goes, Colin, you've been doing this for a while. This may be the project that gets you through the door. So why don't you give them what they want, show them your talents, win them over. And
Mhm.
if this show does go, you then can hopefully have more
Momentum.
like you in
Yeah.
regards to,
Yeah.
going forward.
Then take me back to the garage though first, because
Yeah,
the reason why I asked those specific questions is I think when you get ready to audition and you look at the breakdown and it says series regular, you're like, okay, you have a
yeah, the
different,
dreams. You start
you have
dreaming.
yeah, you have that duffel bag again, being like, okay, I'm going to bring my duffel bag now to this
Yeah,
audition.
totally.
Versus if you read it and you're, especially you having worked at this point, probably on 100 shows. I think I'm exaggerating.
Yeah,
You know how this game is played, and if it's a fractional or it's a recurring day player,
right.
you know how to just jump in front of camera and do this. So I was curious about the actual audition process before we get to, yeah, like what did you throw down? What do you or were
Oh,
you just
well,
kind of whatever? This is not that it's whatever, but I've been doing this for a long time. I
yeah,
know what this needs to be.
exactly. I knew and I love that you asked that because yeah, with this piece, when I read it, understand first off, it wasn't a taxing audition. It wasn't all this medical jargon, scientific jargon. It was conversational. And honestly, that's the kind of stuff I love. I love conversational, just you and me just talking. There's no, you got to say this line correctly because it's a medical term.
Right.
And if it doesn't make sense or
It's
all
a
that,
relationship scene with
it's
you and
just
Martin,
relationship scene.
essentially. Was it this, was it a scene with you and Jack? Is that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah, it was the same with me and Jack. Just simple relationship. So it was just me talking and just taking my time. And I remember when I was doing the audition, I was like, wow, this kind of feels like me. So,
Thank you for saying that. That's what I wanted to know. Was there a sauce
and
that you put
so,
on, or
so
you were
I
just like, I'm just going to invite you into a
invite me, yes.
conversation with Colin?
So what this was, and I tell people this, I go, this audition was the Cinderella shoe. And I go, it just fit. And I'm not taking away from anybody that digs deep and researches and all that. I've done that in past auditions, but just for this one, and this is why I'm saying it was a gift to me after my 25, well,
Yeah, I was
25
going to say
years
at that point,
time,
it's 25 years of, yeah.
25 years of hustle. This one was honestly the Cinderella shoe, and it just fit. And so I made my choices, but I knew that if I was to get this role, I wanted it to be something that I wasn't going to lose sleep over.
Mm, mm,
Understand now, I have two kids
yeah.
that I'm very involved with, and I'm a very proud dad that is a dad that shows up.
Okay.
So my priorities, as much as it's being a provider, they've changed.
Mm.
Work is still my number one in
So
that
you can provide,
business, but
yes.
it's so I can provide because I want to be that dad that shows up for his kids. And that's why I'm so blessed with a show like Virgin River because number one, it shoots in my hometown.
Yes.
So I always get to come home to my bed, see my wife, see my kids, see my dog. So
Your wife's intuition on this
yeah,
was
yeah, this is what I'm saying.
wonderful.
Spot on. Yeah.
So now let's talk about craft going from season to season.
Mm.
So it's like around season two, three, where they start to give Preacher some stuff. You got some
Yes.
dirt,
Yeah.
you got some things that we weren't expecting from Preacher. So from an acting standpoint, how wonderful you're going to one job, you're not having to chase anything else at this moment. What is your kind of preparation at this point? It's different than the audition muscle.
Totally. For me, it was really, I like to get my material in advance. I like to really study it. I've never been the actor that can go to work not knowing his material and then just kind of look at it on the
In the
day
chair, in the makeup
and
chair.
just do it. And some actors love that.
Yeah, they
Some
do.
actors,
Well,
so I don't
especially
want
after 7 seasons, like all of your back histories, the seasons you shot before, like you already got your stuff.
totally, yes. And that is the case, but I like to prepare my work so that it frees me up when I am on set. That's just how my character does his thing. Does it lock me into to how I play it? No. I just feel it gives me more freedom when I'm more confident with my material. But then that being said, those days that you get rewrites on the spot, you then know that you have that freedom because you have that get out of jail free card because everyone on set knows, hey, Colin just got this 1.5 page revision and
Yeah.
you don't feel you're not so nervous about screwing it up and taking people's time and not making days because they know you just got the stuff and then it just frees you as well.
Yeah.
There's a yin and a yang to how
Yes.
I work in regards to the material that comes to me.
Well, and there's so many series regulars, so they have so many different storylines to
Yeah.
really follow through Virgin River. Are you
Mhm.
the actor that wants to participate in the writer's room where you want to give ideas for where you want Preacher to go? Are you the actor that's sitting back and letting like Aaron and Rich and everybody just, I did a show with Aaron and Rich as well. I love
Oh,
them.
cool.
And we got scripts thrown out literally every night the night before we
Yeah.
would shoot. They would have to do a whole rewrite on stuff. So every day was a new day of
Right.
sides. Virgin River is much, much, much different. I know
Yeah.
it's much different. But are you the active one that you're like, hey, I have some ideas? Or are you just, you guys got this? I like to be surprised.
I am the actor that honestly just sits back and says, I like to be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed, and maybe one day, I know, maybe it's because I'm up here as opposed to being down there. But getting into the writer's room and pitching ideas, yeah, it's just never been anything that's been on my radar. And I sometimes think, geez, I should be more involved in the
I mean, not when
sculpting of
you
my
got,
character.
yeah, not when you got people coming in with some of the storylines that I've seen them come up with. I'm like,
Yeah,
where'd you guys come up with that? And we're going to take it
totally.
over here. And that
Yeah,
you guys can get another season and another
right.
season.
Yeah. No, I love what our writer's room does. And like I said before, as by evidence of us starting season 8 later
Yeah,
this year, someone's doing something right.
they're doing
So
good.
it's
Just
a wheel.
Netflix #1. They're
Yeah.
like, people want they want
It's
it.
it's
You
a
guys are
wheel I do
serving it
not it's
up.
a wheel I do not need to reinvent. As long as they can keep the river running, I don't need to get in there and get in their way.
I couldn't agree more. It's nice when you have people at the top that you're like, I really
Mhm.
trust. And I love the element of being surprised. Sometimes television's hard to work on. It's
Yeah.
one thing when you have a mini series, essentially like The Killing, right? You can
Yeah.
have almost all scripts ahead of time. You know what's going to happen with your character. It's different when it's episodic and you're going week to week. You might get a couple of scripts. It's really nice to be able to be versatile. And I think after working for 25 years to then be given the responsibility of carrying a character for 7 years, you're good.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes.
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
Let me ask you this. Going back, now like sitting on a show for 7 years,
Yeah.
what do you wish you could have gone back and told that day player role, that guest star role, that the Colin earlier on when it was like, okay, let me try and do this, or let me try and figure this out. What's one or two pieces of
Oh,
advice?
wow. I love that. Gosh, I would have told that day player, not everything is within your control. Control what you can control, and that is you and your choices. You belong and you are seen, and no role is a small role.
Yeah, I couldn't agree
And
more. Yeah. Yeah.
And the biggest thing that what's interesting, this is what's interesting about this business is that you never know what it is you're going to get until you get it, but you always think it's something different than it's going to be. I remember when I would do these day player roles and always look at the leads, always getting the hot snack first, getting the cozy coats, getting catered to, and saying, boy, that's what I want. But then when you get there and you realize those things, they're just so minor, so trivial. So the one thing that I always present when I'm at work, especially with new castmates, when because I now know the other side, understand that I now know the other side of the actors that come onto our show as day players. And I know that feeling that they have when they're in the makeup trailer and all the leads are just everyone's having a good time with the hair and makeup team and whatnot. And then you come in. So I will always make that effort to go introduce myself and welcome them to the show because I know that for all the times that I was a day player and felt invisible and how it made me
Mhm.
feel compared to the days that I had an actor who would take a moment to introduce himself to me and just what that allowed me to bring to the scene and in regards to just being on set.
Yeah.
I wasn't the actor that just holed up in his corner, stayed in his chair, didn't want to interact with anybody because that's how you can feel on set when you don't feel like part of the family. So it was really important to me to make sure that being on this show, that any new actor that was brought onto the show, you would welcome them just to alleviate that fear of, oh, I'm an imposter. Should I really be here? Am I going to screw up the scene? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think creativity really dies in an egocentric world.
Oh, huge.
And then you can really flourish if there's curiosity, if there's an invitation.
Yeah.
And
Very
the
much.
show's better. And exactly what you said at the beginning of this interview, if that day player comes in, feels welcome, hits it, now you as the series regular have more time to do that scene that you need more time to do because they just rewrote it.
Bingo, bingo.
Right?
My
So like
master
it's like,
plan.
yes, full circle, full circle. Okay, I want to rapid fire a couple questions at you. It's especially since you've gotten to visit so many different sets. What's
Yeah.
your most memorable first day experience?
Oh, wow. Uh,
Which show? What made it
my
so?
most memorable first day experience was probably, I'm fanning here, was probably the day that I was working on X-Men 2. And
Yes.
I was just day playing as one of these striker soldiers, so one of 25. And I saw Hugh Jackman walk by me. I couldn't say anything. I was just like, wow.
And then did you get to watch him work? Were you in a vicinity where you got to actually?
I never got to watch him work, but to see him, at
Yeah.
that time, Hugh Jackman, he still is. You always hear about these stars, and it was a big budget show we were working on, and there was some big actors there. I worked with Brian Cox, so he was amazing to be in a scene with.
So watching him, what did you get to pick up some tools, some like what like when I've sat on some sets and gotten to work with some people, watching how they work, I think really breaks down how the
Yeah.
sausage is made. And then you realize there's good seamstress. That's what I
Yes.
call acting, especially on television and film, where I'm like, they know how this is going to be stitched together.
Yes.
They know where camera is. They know how to handle 3 pages of a new monologue at that
Totally.
moment. And watching people who've been doing it for 50, 60 years, you're like,
Yeah.
"Ah, okay. So Brian at that time had been working for a long time. What'd
Brian
you,
had been working for a long time. Now, his material at the time wasn't anything that was, the scenes weren't riveting scenes, but just to be in his presence was something that I put that in one of my checklists of
Mhm.
accomplishments. But to be honest with you, two actors, in my opinion, that were brilliant in their craft, in seeing them know their angles, picking up lines, little cheats, I call them.
Mhm.
And you would never know. The two actors were Michael Madsen.
Ah, yeah.
I did a movie that he shot up here, and to see him command just the way he commanded the scene, and he didn't even know his lines, which was so amazing, is that, but he has a style. And I remember he would put his line in certain places and he would walk in with that Michael Madsen swagger and he would look down and he would read his lines off this page, break. He'd look up here and he'd read some more. And I'm watching this guy and I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. How's this scene going to work? This is no way this is going to work. They cut it together. I'm like, wow, this guy's good.
So good.
Another guy who did this, Tom Sizemore. I remember working on a project with him, but the same thing. He would
Nice.
keep lines and I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. Watch the movie and some of these guys, they just know their timing. They're not rushing for
Yeah.
lines and they edit it perfectly and they're masters of it.
That's the thing. They're not rushing for the lines, and it's really
Yeah.
not about the lines.
Mhm.
Like so
Mhm.
many newer actors, I feel like put so much pressure on. I got to get the lines down first. It's like,
Yeah, totally.
no, you actually just have to have a strong point of view. And if you
Yeah.
can just, if even if you pick it up off the page, like when we used to go into the room, take it off the page. You have
Yeah.
a strong point of view and you have an essence. That's what's getting you hired. It's not if you mess up. Actually, you
But
get hired more often if you do mess up because
But
then
here's
they
the
get to
argument.
see-
But here's the argument with that, though. This is the argument with that. You're always told it's not about the lines. And please disagree with me if you will.
Yeah.
It's never about the lines when your character is, in my opinion, of a substantial size.
Yes.
That's when it's not about the line. Because
Right.
you've got a 5 or 6 page scene. It's not about the lines. Because you can
Absolutely.
just do your thing and pick up a line here or just ad lib a little bit to get the wheels back on. But as you're starting out as an actor, it
As
is
a day
about the
player,
lines.
uh-huh.
A
Yeah.
day player, because you say huh instead of but, and the script he's breathing down your back,
I would agree with you.
Can't say and but and yeah, I got that. It's yes, sir, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yes, because you're messing up the cadence.
So understand from my point of view, having done so many day player roles, that almost gets ingrained into you. So then to all of a sudden you start going, you to have that freedom to ad lib a little bit, and oh, I changed the line, and no one's coming between takes to correct me. I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm gonna try this. And I remember doing that in one show, and I added a little capper on the end, and they were like, "That was brilliant. That was brilliant, Con. That was really smart. We're gonna use that for whatever." And I remember they used it in the trailer of whatever show, which was something which I thought was really cool. So it's not being afraid, but then, like I said, making sure that it's the environment. So that's why I'm saying it's never about the line.
Yeah.
It's not about
You're
the line.
right. But if you are the one serving up the one or two line that needs to keep it, we do need that line. We need
Yeah,
it. We
yeah.
actually need you to say it. But you're right. If you have the 5 page, that's why when I have people coming in for the large recurs, like as
Yes.
soon as you understand the way the ladder works, the large recurs, the lead of a film, even supporting of a film, I would say, the lead of a show. Yeah. They need your essence because they need to know that they can write for you, that you understand
Yes.
the story. But day player, yeah, we need you to come in. Also, I love that you shared that story. It's of you being on set and adding like a little moment to it at the end. But you probably already gave them one or two takes where they needed exactly what they needed.
Exactly
Just
what they
any
needed.
actor that's listening to this, would give them what they need.
Yes.
And then, okay, you got that. Okay, now I'm gonna play.
Totally. That's
You
exactly
brought
that.
me here. And a lot of people that come to play, then people are like, oh, they're comfortable. Then it also gives people an idea to write. Like Preacher,
Mhm.
episode 1, let me see what happens here. They get to see some stuff and they're like, oh, thank God we can write for him. Okay, we can go 7 seasons now. The writers need
Totally.
to have ideas. And
Yeah.
that to me is a smart actor, is learning when you need to, like, when you can add, when you cannot, when you can hit it, when you can
Yes.
be like, don't cut yourself in the middle of a 5 page scene on page 4 because you just messed up a line. We don't care at that
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like reading the room.
Reading the room. Exactly.
You got to read. You got to read the room. You read the room. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to say it's knowing your place because I know that through my career, as I say, doing a lot of day player roles, it does cap you in regards to exploring, say,
That you're
because
getting now in this 7-year run.
yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But when the roles get larger, you get the freedom. And that's when I've found I've had the most fun when you get the guest stars or the recurrings, where you get more freedom with your material.
Yeah.
And that's where the fun is in this industry for me. I'm not saying that my early years weren't fun, but you were very confined to not paint outside the lines, because the characters that I played weren't characters that you could paint outside the lines. They were the authoritative police officers. They were the military guys. They were the FBI guys, right? They were those straight character roles. But as my career grew, I started getting introduced to characters that had more colors to them. You could bring more to the table in regards to how you played them and make choices that were questionable. And if they worked, and if they didn't, like you said before, right? You do a couple takes the way the director is hoping, and then they say, "Hey, listen, we're doing great. Here, you want to do? Here's one for kicks. Just do one you got." And then you find out when you see the show, the one that you did is the take that they kept.
Yeah. That's when you get that creative, nice little itch.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
What are you allowed to tell us about where Preacher is going?
Preacher's going far.
And thank you for the interview.
No,
answer me this. Let me, because we know how big of the show this is. We can't spoil anything.
That's right.
Where, after you just said painting outside the lines, where would you like to see where Preacher goes?
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. The character itself, Preacher's an interesting character. He's very grounded, stable, loyal, honorable. As fans say, he's like the backbone of Jack's Bar. He's the moral compass of the show. I would like to see the character presented more of a leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy playing the character. He always seems to play as Jack's right-hand man in his shadows. So it would be neat to see him step up and have the story around him. You know what I mean?
I'd also like to see some morality challenged and see
Yes, exactly.
See how he would handle that in this nice little town, right?
Totally.
We need to, for season 8, 9, maybe 10, we need to see if we could shake
to
it
keep it interesting, right?
Yes.
And someone has said to me, someone has asked me about Preacher's love life and him finding his happy. And I responded to that. The day that Preacher has dotted his I's and crossed his T's is the day that Preacher no longer has a storyline.
Agreed.
So the character, as much as fans want him to find his happy and be in these uncomplicated relationships.
Then what are we watching?
But why are you watching?
Yeah, why are you watching at that point? We got to keep him coming back.
And that's what keeps you coming back. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for letting me pick into the beginnings and all the other little places here and there. Where can everybody find you other than on the Virgin Rivers? Are you online? Are you in the socials?
The socials? Yeah, I guess I'm in the socials. So what am I? I'm on Instagram.
What's the handle?
Lawrence 97. I am not on TikTok. I am not on anything else. That's the thing about this project is every time it airs, I always get people coming to me asking me if I've responded to them through TikTok and all these fake accounts. So for anyone out there that's watching, my only handle is Instagram at Colin Lawrence 97 with the blue check mark.
The blue checks.
That's me.
Thank you for doing this. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank
you.